I'm Katie Padiak, and this is Montessori Monday. Each week I break down an element of Montessori philosophy and make it a little bit more understandable and accessible for how you can help your child with this in mind. This week we're talking about the spiritual embryo. So Maria Montessori believed, among other psychologists and scientists of her time, that there are two embryonic phases in each human life. The first is the physical embryo, where that embryo is created and implanted in a uterus, and that environment gives the embryo everything it needs to grow. In that environment, they're absorbing nutrients and blood and developing because that environment supports that development. Once the child is grown and born, the second embryonic phase begins, and that is the spiritual embryo. And that's the time that a young baby is absorbing everything it needs from the environment to build the character of the person they're going to become. So this social development is being absorbed by the child. Things like language and culture and positive regard for others. Those things are being absorbed by this child and becoming part of who they are and the character of the person that they will grow to be. In this environment, we can provide for the child the way that we see the world. So something that Maria Montessori said is, to influence society, we must turn our attention to childhood. And what a powerful thing, but what a scary thing to think that we have the possibility to influence our child to create change in society, to see the world in a way that it might not currently be, but have the potential to move to become this great person that can influence the rest of the world. Maria Montessori believed that in this spiritual embryonic phase, there was an awakening of potential powers of their creative life. So at this time, the way that we can support our child during this phase is by surrounding them with the kinds of things that we want them to set as values in their life. So it's the way we interact with others. The child is absorbing everything, whether it's in the home, in school, with a caregiver outside of the biological family. People are influencing the way that the child sees social interactions. So making the choice to have kind, loving interactions will help that child to absorb that kind and loving socialization is a value that they will carry with them. We can also expose them to wonderful, beautiful things in the space, whether it's physical beauty or beauty through music and dance and movement, through art. They're absorbing this beauty into their lives, and they're going to carry that with them throughout life. It's intense and it can seem really overwhelming, but it's also a great opportunity, because as your child grows, you are starting with these values of your social group, and they're absorbing these things of your culture and your values, and they're going to carry that with them. So think about what you're doing with your child and how you interact with them. And it can be scary to think that maybe this will shape who they become, but it's also really exciting because you can start from the beginning and really nurture that positive, loving characteristics that you hope that they grow into. The spiritual embryo is a great possibility for where the child can go. And Maria Montessori said it's like an arrow being let go from a bow. They can go anywhere. And we, as the caregivers, can remove the obstacles in that environment so the spiritual embryo has infinite growth and possibilities along its path.